From your local election headquarters, this is Eyewitness Newsmakers with your hosts, Jayne and Bugda and Andy Mehalshick.
Hello and welcome to Newsmakers from your local election headquarters. I'm Andy Mehalshick.
And I'm Jayne and Bugda. Today we are taking a look at the race in the newly formed 8th Congressional District. It's the matchup between Democratic Congressman Matt Cartwright and Republican John Chrin.
And once again, to be fair, we asked each candidate the same questions and allowed them 1 minute to make a statement to voters. The segments are then followed by analysis by David Youngkai, Dr. David Sosar, and attorney Chris Cullen.
You can always find more information on our candidates on pahomepage.com or under the local election headquarters link and Newsmakers link. And Newsmakers from your local election headquarters will begin right after this. Welcome back to Newsmakers from your local election headquarters. I'm Jayne Ann Bugda along with Andy Mehalshick. And in this segment, we are sitting down with Congressman Matt Cartwright, who currently represents the 17th District, but is the Democratic candidate in the newly formed 8th Congressional District. So this is an opportunity for our viewers and the voters out there to get to know you a little bit better, for those who don't know you already. In just a minute or so, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, good work, Jayne Ann. You got all that right. And great to be back with you and Andy.
Welcome, Matt.
Sure. I'm Matt Cartwright, and you know, I've lived here in northeastern Pennsylvania for over 30 years now. See, when Marion and I were in law school in Philadelphia, we decided to make our lives in northeastern Pennsylvania, to raise our family here. In fact, we had 2 boys. They're not boys anymore, they're men now, and they are imbued with the values that we know here in northeastern Pennsylvania: hard work, integrity, knowing that everybody is equal in the eyes of God. They watched Marion and me work hard as courtroom lawyers over the years, standing up for regular working families in tough situations, and we were proud to do that work. And it's work that really translated well for me when I went to Congress. To stick up for regular working people in the halls of Congress, it's work that I've been very proud to do, and Jayne Ann and Andy, I'd really like to continue doing that.
Matt, in this very extremely polarized political climate, that's putting it nicely, some would say downright hostile climate in Washington, how do you think you can make a difference? You've been there now for a while as a congressman, but to be reelected, how can you make a difference to change that climate?
Well, you know that there is an awful lot of partisan bickering in Washington, and that's going to go on. It has gone on for as long as they've had a Congress. If you read the history books from way back when, it was horrible back in 1790s when they first had the first Congresses. But what I've tried to do is look beyond that. I've always been taught you look for the good in people and you will find it. And I work across the aisle. I make myself do it because I know the decency of the people in northeastern Pennsylvania. They expect that. Because of that, I'm so proud to say I've been named for the last 5 years, my entire 5 years in the Congress, I've been named the top Democrat with more bills supported by the opposing party than any other Democrat each of the 5 years. And I passed 2 major pieces of legislation, one in the last Congress, the Megabyte Act, that'll save American taxpayers between $1 and $4 billion with a B. Dollars a year in the purchase of software for the federal government. And this year, the Veterans Care Financial Protection Act of 2017, which President Trump signed. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I didn't reach across the aisle. And I'm so proud to say I got the AMVETS Award for Best Legislator of the Year in Pennsylvania. It comes with a wonderful plaque, guys. It's called the Silver Bayonet Award, and we'll treasure that for a long time.
And Congressman, immigration, a very hot topic now. Where do you stand on immigration, and how do we fix a system that some say is broken?
Right. I mean, that's a perfect example of a thing that people have been bickering about for a long time. We have to solve it. We have to have comprehensive immigration reform, including securing our borders. We have something like 11, 12, 13 million people living in the shadows in this country. My idea is let's make taxpayers of those people. Now, I'm a rule of law kind of person. It's something that's been part of my life, my entire adult life, and a lot of lawyers are like that. I believe people who break the law should be punished, and in the case of undocumented aliens, if they broke the law, they should be punished with heavy fines, but I want to make taxpayers of them too, because we need the tax revenue from them. We need the economy. You know, studies have shown that American citizens, between 3 and 5 million American citizens, would lose their jobs if we just deleted 11 million people from our economy. So my idea is comprehensive immigration reform, a tough but fair path to citizenship, and let's get past all this horrible bickering over immigration.
And Matt, we keep hearing about the healthcare system. That too is broken by many accounts. Do we need to fix healthcare, and how do we need to do it? How would you support to do that?
Andy, I'm saying the same thing I've said for 6 years now, and that is this. If you think about healthcare, you think about what you need to protect and preserve. You need to protect coverages, you need to protect our hospitals. Many people remember that before the Medicaid expansion was accepted in Pennsylvania, we were losing hospitals. We lost the Marion Community Hospital in Carbondale. We lost a hospital, St. Catherine's Hospital down near Ashland, Pennsylvania. Our hospitals are at risk when we don't cover as many people as possible, because they end up by law having to treat people who show up in the emergency room. My idea is continue to expand coverage, continue to look for ways to make it cheaper for everybody, and the wider you can spread coverage for everybody, the cheaper it will get and the stronger our hospitals will be. If your local hospital closes, that is a real tangible impact on the quality of your health care, and we need to continue to try to avoid that.
And jobs is always an important topic and concern for around here. How do we bring more jobs to our region?
Well, all right. It's not just about more jobs. It's about better paying jobs. The unemployment rate has gone down, but people are working longer hours, maybe 2 jobs, to try to keep up the standard of living that we used to have with manufacturing jobs. Promoting manufacturing jobs is a key. Now, as a member of Congress, what I do is I try to bring back as many federal tax dollars to our area as I can to make sure we get our fair share of federal tax revenue back here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Studies have shown that for every $1 I bring back in federal grant money, that turns into $4 in economic activity, and it's the economic activity that creates the jobs. Now, I worked hard to get on the House Appropriations Committee. Up to now, we've brought in about a little bit more than $500 million in federal tax money back to the area in my tenure, but I hope to really increase that, because as I gain seniority on the House Appropriations Committee, it'll enhance my ability to do that. And we had some great members of Congress around here, Congressman Flood, Congressman McDade. The things that they were able to do, they did it from the House Appropriations Committee.
Okay, Matt, we're wrapping up on time. I'll look at that camera and tell people why they should vote for Matt Cartwright.
Well, Andy and Jayne Ann, thanks for having me on here. And look, people know that I care about the people in northeastern Pennsylvania. It's because we chose to live here, raise our family here. These are people that are hurting. There are not enough high-paying jobs around here. There's not good infrastructure. There are things that we have to do for our area, and I'm working hard to do that. Up to now, I've been in the minority the entire time in Congress. We have some hopes that I'll be in the majority starting in January, and if that happens, we're going to be able to make infrastructure improvements. We're going to be able to force Medicare to negotiate drug prices with big pharmaceutical companies, which will bring pharmaceutical prices down for seniors and for everybody. There's a lot more that I want to do to help northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm honored to do this job, and as I get more seniority in the job, I will become more and more effective as a congressman, and that's what I'm looking forward to do. Thanks very much, guys.
Well, Congressman Matt Cartwright, thank you for joining us today. To learn more about Congressman Cartwright, check out PAHomepage.com under the Newsmakers link on PAHomepage.com, and we'll be right back after this. You're watching Newsmakers from your local election headquarters. I'm Jayne Bugda along with Andy Mehalshick. And in this segment, we're joined by Chrin. He is the Republican candidate for the newly formed 8th Congressional District. And this is an opportunity for our viewers to get to know you a little bit better. So our first question is pretty easy. Just tell us a little bit about who you are briefly.
Sure. It's great to be with both of you. So I'm a 10th generation Pennsylvanian. I grew up in the Lehigh Valley, someone who was a member of a working class family. Grandfather who was a steel worker at Bethlehem Steel, other grandfather was a coal miner, and I was the first person in my family to go to college. I had the benefit of being able to go to Lehigh University, where I met my wife, who came to this country sight unseen from Tegucigalpa, Honduras. So from an immigration perspective, I've been the beneficiary of great immigration. And from Lehigh, my wife and I both went on to attend Columbia Business School. And I've been a business person. I was a banker for many years. I traveled this country working with companies, large and small, creating jobs. And that's one of the things I'm able to do really well in terms of understanding how the economy works, and something I'm going to be very focused on in terms of Northeast Pennsylvania to grow prosperity for everyone in this region.
John, in this extremely polarized political climate, some would say downright hostile and mean, how will you make a difference if you are elected to Congress?
I think it's a terrific question. It's actually one of the things that when I looked at, why do I do this? And people have asked that question many times. I looked at the polarization in Washington and said, you know what, we can do better. And I was very fortunate in terms of what I was able to do. And I believe the strengths I have as a business person, as a human being, are really bringing people together to get things done, to move the ball down the field, and to advance what we want to achieve. And it's frustrating to look at what's happened in Washington to say, no is not a strategy. We should be working for the people that you're elected to represent. And that's what I want to do. And I think I can do that because, again, I've had a proven history over my career of getting things done.
And of course, immigration is a hot button topic. Where do you stand on immigration, and how do we fix a system that is apparently broken?
Well, immigration is unbelievably important to this country, and it's complex, and it's something that needs to be fixed. If we look at it, it's something where both parties really over the last 30, 40 years have been guilty of not fixing something that is fundamentally flawed. And if we think about the beauty of this country in terms of what legal immigration has meant to this country in terms of just the growth, the expansion, the cultural benefits that we've picked up, it's beautiful. But what we have now needs to be fixed. First and foremost, you have to start with securing our borders. And it's something that when you go through, I mentioned earlier that my wife is from Honduras. And that's a country I've traveled to 50 times in my life. So I've seen firsthand the type of desperation and just the hardness of the life that the people have there. So we need to secure the borders. We need to come through and have a comprehensive plan that addresses all aspects of immigration. And it's something that if you try to do it as a one-off negotiation, it's not going to work. We have to sit down. We have to say, this is what we need to do. We need talent in many different industries across the board. As I travel the district, one of the biggest industries we have is agriculture. There are hundreds of thousands of jobs that are unfilled around the country, tens of thousands in Pennsylvania, where we need people that are going to work on the farms. We have people in the construction industry that can't hire the people that they need to work. So when I think about immigration, it's something that I would love to play a very active role in, and it's something that, again, based on what we need to do to drive this country, we can do it, but we can't just take things off the table. And I think that's been part of the problem.
John, do we need to fix health care? And if so, how would you do that, or how would you begin that repair?
Yeah. Health care, let's step back. Again, I love to think of things at a macro level. The United States, spectacular, right, in terms of what we've been able to do to drive innovation around drugs, around devices that have made people's lives better in terms of the quality of life, extending human life. But if we come back and really look and grade ourselves and say, how are we doing as a country? We're not going to get an extraordinarily high grade. It's going to be in the B- category because we spend too much of our GDP, the gross domestic product, on healthcare versus the rest of the world. So healthcare needs to be fixed. The Affordable Care Act, oftentimes referred to as Obamacare, is something that really isn't working. Premiums keep going up, and it's something that's I hear constantly from small business owners, from families that it's so expensive, they don't understand what and how they're paying so much for something that's not providing them benefits. I believe we need to have something where competition, okay, in terms of the providers, we have to protect people with pre-existing conditions. And that's one of the things that people are going to say, oh, you're not going to do that. We will. I will. And it's just one of the things that should be sacrosanct when we look at how we do our healthcare better. Healthcare needs to be focused on results, because that GDP where we spend the money too high relative to the expected life of a person in the United States, we should be focused on outcomes rather than treating at the back end when bad things have happened. Also a big believer that one of the good things that came out of the Obama administration on healthcare was the digitization of medical records. I believe we should be able to utilize that digitization through machine learning, artificial intelligence, also to drive down the costs. So to me, the opportunity is to take costs lower.
And how do we bring more jobs to our area?
Well, number one, you have to have a plan, okay? Anything in life, if you say, whoop, just going to expect it to happen, it's not going to happen. And hope is not a plan. So the one thing that I've said as you go through and you look at this, and we have some extraordinary positive benefits in terms of where we sit. And if we have a plan and really understand what businesses, whether they're investors, individuals, or bigger corporations, you have to know how to market and sell them the attributes and benefits that we have. I can do that extraordinarily well. Already have ideas in terms of the 4 or 5 industries that I think we should target that will drive very good job growth.
John, we have about 1 minute left. If you can, look into that camera and tell the folks in this district why they should support you for Congress.
Sure. I think it's very important in this election that as you go through that you do your work and really understand who the candidates are that are running. There's a stark contrast between myself and Matthew Cartwright. Matthew's someone who really likes higher taxes, more regulation, unaffordable health care, and he also likes sanctuary cities. He's voted repeatedly in favor of sanctuary cities, although he's had a vote against it. We need to have somebody who's going to stand strongly against sanctuary cities. He's also someone that, if you look at his record, he's voted 96% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. That's not the type of person I am. If you like that, you should vote for Matt. I'm going to be focused on the positive. I want to drive the economy, create prosperity, create better jobs for people in the northeast portion of Pennsylvania. And it's something that I have a proven track record of having done over my career, and something that I will work passionately for all the counties, all the communities in this district, and do it with the only way I know how to do, with hard work and integrity.
John, thank you for joining us today. For more information on John Chrin, check out pahomepage.com. We're under the Newsmakers link, and we'll talk to you right after this.
And welcome back to Eyewitness News, Newsmakers from your local election headquarters. We're talking about now in this segment, the race between John Chrin, Republican, versus Democrat Matt Cartwright in the district number 8
right.
district. Try and keep these districts straight, and sometimes it can be confusing. How's that race shaping up? We just heard from the candidates. We'll start with Dave Yonkai.
Well, our friend Dr. Terry Madonna, earlier in this year, when I had a conversation with him, said that this was going to be a race that was going to be no problem for Cartwright. And in his latest newsletter, he basically said it's now toss-up. And I think that's the reason for that is because Chrin is spending a lot of money. He's virtually camping out in Luzerne County. He's banking on Republicans to come and support him like they did Donald Trump. I believe that Cartwright, in his 6 years in office, has been a star in Washington, D.C., and the fact that he's on the Appropriations Committee should help. It's going to be very close, though, because I think that Chrin is going to do well in Wayne County and the two Republican counties, and I think he's going to try to drive Cartwright's margins down. Cartwright is going to win, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think it's good. This is probably going to be one of the premier battles that you're going to see for a congressional seat. I do agree with Dave. I think that the campaign so far, in whether it be the commercials, the money being spent, and all that, I think you're going to see. This is not precisely the congressional district that Cartwright was familiar with of old, right. And it is really a much more of a blue dog type of congressional district, and a Republican who gets his point across may very well do as well in this as a blue dog Democrat would. Cartwright can be, I think, probably projected as a little bit more too far leaning to the left, and that's what's going to make this interesting.
I think the way the district is right now, it plays very well for a dynamic message as well as a positive approach. Now, there's a record involved too. Congressman Cartwright has a very distinguished record. He has a very good approach to the issues. He has been hardworking for the district. That plays a lot because all those little things add up for a congressman who has to deal with the needs of the constituency he serves. And in this case, Congressman Cartwright has done that. So that's something that's a known quantity that I think is going to come through more and more with his message. Mr. Chrin has the money, there's no question about that. But a lot of people have spent money and never got anything out of politics because their message is wrong, not inspiring, and they are not familiar with the district.
The major issue is going to be Social Security.
Absolutely.
Chrin can't run on Cartwright and Nancy Pelosi. The major issue is going to be Cartwright's stand on Social Security in this district.
Right.
Well, we have more information on our candidates that you've seen today on pahomepage.com. We're under the Newsmakers and local election headquarters link. For Andy Mehalshick, for Chris Cullen, David Yonkai, and David Sosar, I'm Jayne Bugda. Thank you for making us part of your day, and we'll talk again next time.